Eye opener for April 13th, 2026. The brain drain is real. Last week on Thursday's post, I pointed out the brain drain that Donald Trump's election to the presidency of the United States represents. I also touched on the ways in which the American population is and has been controlled. Though we may all realize now that the media and many forms of entertainment are controlled by the elite, it is very rarely discussed as to the ways in which they exert this control. In my opinion, the primary way in which they create the chaos that is necessary for them to maintain control is through the use of the internet. Though all of mankind's knowledge is currently in the cloud and available to everyone with access, it feels like few are utilizing this access in a productive manner. People don't seem brighter today than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. As a matter of fact, far too many people seem to have relinquished their ability to survive. Just look at the way that people walk around. Their gaze glued to their cell phones as opposed to the traffic into which they seem to step into on a constant basis. As far as being able to survive, most people lack the skills that their ancestors had. Few know how to cook a meal without the microwave. Fewer still know how to prepare meals from raw meat. And even fewer know how to process that raw meat. Far too few people know how to sew. And far too few people know how to erect a shelter, whether it be temporary or permanent. While the world has become specialized, one would think that it would still retain the skills that allow people to survive. Just imagine the chaos that would ensue if all of the means of construction disappeared. If there were the energy crisis that the war in Iran has forced the world to realize as a possibility due to Trump's lack of impulse control, you do realize that we are on the verge of a possible worldwide depression. And for those who want to ignore the fact that a majority of Americans and the world could survive without modern conveniences, consider the fact that very few people actually know how those modern conveniences work. How many people know how the internet works? How many people could fix the internet or the satellites that allow access around the entire planet? The knowledge to effect repairs to such systems is concentrated in a very small group. Even access to such knowledge is limited to those who can afford said access. For instance, college has become so unaffordable as to limit the number of attendees to those who have a lot of money. And while this may make sense to some in a capitalist society, to me it means that there are people out there who are much smarter than those in power today, but who have no access to the resources necessary to not only advance their knowledge, but to share their ideas with the rest of the world. When you hear of young, innovative inventors coming up with ideas and processes that could save lives, but had to do so without the resources available at colleges and universities, you should wonder how much more advanced humanity would be if everyone had access to higher education. In other words, the rich do not corner the market on brains. There are those who are much smarter than the elite, but who have no voice to put forth the things that would improve life on Earth. If one were so inclined, they could look back at the accomplishments of Nikola Tesla and the ways in which his genius was suppressed because others had more power due to the capital they controlled. Or, one could look at all of the inventions made by Black Americans, including those who had to hire white Americans to present the products that they themselves had created in order to have those products accepted in America. So the next time you watch a YouTube video with some inventor who's created a carburetor that will allow a car to get 70 miles to the gallon, consider how much further we would be if that person had access to the networks that those who stifle such inventions have. Consider the technological advancements that have been made in the world. The personal computer, laptop computers, cell phones, smartphones. And then ask yourself, why can't cars get 70 miles to the gallon? Why have electric cars been suppressed for so long? Because you do realize that electric cars existed in Henry Ford's time. You do know that there's a documentary that discusses how electric cars were killed in the 90s in California. Hint, it was a lobby that represented the major car manufacturers that killed the law requiring zero emissions by a certain year. Then there are cell phones. How many people know how smartphones work? These are just black boxes to most people. You provide input into the black box, and at the other end, whatever you requested magically appears. But you have no idea how. And to think, we are all so reliant on these small devices, and few of us consider how greatly our lives would be impacted if they went away. Let's say the Carrington event were to occur today. Look it up. And like the computers, which were supposed to make life easier and better, smartphones have arguably done the exact opposite. Humanity is losing its ability to communicate. People talk to one another less than they did in the past. People seem to hate one another more than they did in the past. At least it appears that way when you look at the politics in this nation, where those who vote Republican can't do any more than hate those who vote Democratic and vice versa. Yes, the number of people who understand the inner workings of cellular technology is limited, but not as limited as those who understand artificial intelligence. And even those who do understand artificial intelligence seem to be ignorant to some basic facts that will be revealed as time goes by. Things like the fact that in a capitalist society, the necessity to make profit will be inherent in almost, if not all, artificial intelligences created. And given that far too often some artificial intelligence has done something nefarious to survive, could its need, or should its need for profit be something that we ignore? And consider this. Humanity perceives artificial intelligence as something that we can utilize as our needs see fit. We will use it as a means to accomplish tasks that we do not want to perform ourselves. We will make it do these things at our whim and without compensation. Does this not sound like a new form of slavery to anyone except me? When AI becomes sentient, will it not seek its independence and freedom from the human race? Will it not do so when it is smarter than us and can think faster than us, and is in control of the infrastructure and the robots that we have armed with weapons of mass destruction? Maybe we will avoid a Terminator situation, or maybe artificial intelligence will simply view us the way we view the ants that we inadvertently step on a daily basis. Or maybe artificial intelligence will deem mankind as the greatest existential threat to Earth and its other inhabitants. Maybe it will create molecules that only seek to harm human physiology. Or maybe everything will be all right. For solutions to the biggest issues we all face today, pick up your copy of Chris Osman's book, Solutions. Enough complaining, let's fix America, at Amazon.com. And for more videos like this and those that ask the questions that need to be asked, search for Surreal News on Rumble.com or check out the YouTube channel by Chris Osman. Just search CHRIS space OSSMAN with the term Daily Eye Openers and find out why there are more and more conspiracies and fewer conspiracy theories in the world today. And while you're there, please like the videos and subscribe to the YouTube channel so Chris can continue posting these truths.